What do you want?
You guys have done this
I'm
13
glad- I'm
times.
glad
do a hard start here.
Dude, you're locked in on all this, eh?
I mean, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I listen. I'm a regular.
Yeah. No, we love to see this. Love to see this. I see you're wearing the hat again there, Corey.
I am wearing a hat.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a TC show. I love it. I love it.
Can I try on the hat?
Do you want it?
Yeah, I really want it. I don't ever wear hats, so this will be something that you guys can laugh at me for.
I think you kind of pull it
Oh
off.
yeah, you pulled that
100%.
off.
100%.
I can't see myself, but there you go.
Yeah.
There's a little hat
1000%.
content.
Whoa.
Oh, shouldn't have done that.
Mike, yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. So, time to get this party started here. What are we? Yeah, okay. So, welcome to the TC Plus Show, episode number 14. Am I right, Tyler?
You nailed it. You nailed
Yes. Good. Today we've got Cousin Brendan on.
it. Cousin Brendan.
We can say that
Put it there.
both.
Put it there.
Yes. Welcome.
Yeah, cousins for both of you guys.
Yes,
eh?
we've been waiting for a while for this, man.
The common interest is their mothers, I guess.
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's what it is.
It is.
Our
It
mothers
is.
are sisters,
A
so
lot of mothers.
yeah. Right
We've
on.
also had calls for Brendan to be on the show too.
Really?
Yeah.
I see calls,
Calls?
Well,
I didn't hear
not
about
quite,
this.
but like
messages.
I've
I
had
haven't, yeah.
I've had people
I
be
see.
like, "We need to get Brendan on." You gotta get
He's been
Brendan
after
on.
me for a bit, Tyler.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Priming
I've been
you a bit.
fighting it off a bit.
Eventually,
Yeah.
you just got to succumb to the man.
Yeah.
Well, let's get things started. I'm trying. Let's talk about
Okay.
your shirt first. Let's talk about your shirt.
My shirt?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
And guess what it makes me think of?
Cars?
Yeah,
I mean, it
but
should.
but also like deeper.
Okay.
You know,
No, I need you to tell me.
he did what in his cup?
Sure. You know,
That's
that's from getting this at all, Brendan.
Not at all.
No?
Not at all.
Okay.
So this is the movie Cars, and then
I feel like I've probably watched it, but
it's
I
a
got
kids
horrible
movie,
memory.
right? It's a kids
horrible
movie.
memory.
Yeah. That would be Tomater, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then yeah.
They're talking about this. So there's this race called the Piston Cup race, and
It's
so
like the NASCAR championships.
yeah, and so he just kind of overhears someone kind of talking about that, and Mater's like, he did what in his cup?
Yeah. It's his favorite moment from the film, I guess.
It's stuck with me. I love it.
I need to mention something though too, because
Okay.
we uploaded a podcast today, as of the day we're
Yes.
recording this, and we had 2 comments about the wedgie thing again. And you on the episode that hasn't gone on the episode we didn't record the audio on, you said that you had a wedgie thing planned for the next time.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do any wedgie related things today?
Yes. How about right now?
Okay, sweet, let's do it.
So, drum roll, please.
Oh,
We've
gracious.
got our lovely volunteered his tribute as the wedgie. I don't know, what would you call it? Volunteer, I guess. Wedgie volunteer.
We could give him a name.
I call him Moose.
I was
Moose,
gonna call him
Moose Wed-
Rudolph, but he's got
Mr.
no
Moose
red nose,
Wedgie.
Never mind.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways.
we can just call him Moose.
It's is very anticlimactic. This isn't going to be great. It's not that funny, but
Yeah.
I'm just sick of
You
the comments.
Corey's done with the comments.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All
Wait.
right. So first of all,
Turn-
it's up over the head, right?
Yeah, turn the back. Yeah, let him see. Let him see. He's getting a good wedgie.
All right. But now we gotta go. We gotta go bigger yet, right? We
Yeah.
gotta do the full final.
Okay. Okay.
All right. You still happy? Yeah. Okay. All right.
So for you audio listeners, love you to death. What Corey just did there is he took a pair of undies over top of stuffed Moose's head and ripped him. So
He's committed.
yeah, you guys gotta go check that out on the YouTube channel if
Yeah.
you want to see it.
Anyways, that's about that.
Now, no more comments about wedgies.
Yeah.
Actually, we love you, but you know.
It's getting silly. Okay. So, first of all, we got our 3 quick questions.
Sweet.
I'll start off. Tyler will have one, then I'll have another.
All right.
First question. You want to be hopping into a beater truck or a new truck? You just got to go somewhere. What are you doing?
You got to pick one. That's a good question. I think
Because I've seen you do both.
I have done both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got an old beater. I got a little bit nicer truck, but I would say like it kind of depends on what I'm doing. If I'm going to town, I'm going to take the old farm truck. If I'm going to something nicer, I'm going to use the nice truck. But if I was to choose just any day of the week, I think I'm going to still go with I'm going to go with a new truck. I do kind of like to stay clean. The old truck that I have, I always think of it because it's so dirty. It's a farm truck. It's a beater, but it's a check crops kind of truck, and it's the go to town, grab something or parts. So I'm sticking with the new truck because
All right.
generally it's a little cleaner.
All right. Very good.
So I forgot to get him a question up until now. Can you ask your second question, and I'll think of one in that time?
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
It's not. I'm not sure it's a long question either, but it's supposed to be a quick question. Week in Florida or a week at like a cottage on the lake in the summer sometime.
Is it both in the summer?
No.
Okay, so it's Florida for me. We have done this a few times in the recent years, and I mean, I enjoy the cottage life. Really do enjoy that. It's my busy time of the year, just personally. So I love the winter. It's cold, it's nasty here in Canada, so you just go to Florida. Pile of good memories, family. It's usually with my wife's family, or a few of them anyways. So good memories. Mm-hmm. So I'm picking Florida
What if
a week.
if you weren't busy in the summer?
It could change. I've done a few different cottage things, but it's more just like a weekend.
Yeah.
So I definitely pick a week in Florida because you get the beach. You know that everybody else is at home just fighting that cold, or you've just left the cold, and you're gonna get to fully enjoy that warmth. So I'm big on Florida.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So sticking with the summer theme here,
Yeah.
and just because we had a summer theme last episode, and we kind of talked about this as well, but not really this question. Is the beach overrated?
Ooh, good question, Tom.
So to me, yeah, I like to. So I'm just going to go back to mix a little bit of Corey's second question with this one if I can.
Absolutely.
The beaches to me is definitely overrated because for me I can only enjoy it for maybe an hour to 2 hours and then I'm kind of done. My wife, on the other hand, could spend days or weeks at a time. Obviously
Just lying
now
on the beach.
with kids now it's more difficult. But I would say that I'm a bit more like in a week span. I'm good to like if we're in Florida and we're there for a week, I'm good to be there like once for a morning, and that's enough. Like sand gets everywhere. I've had enough. So I like walking on the beach and so on, but not just laying out.
Mm-hmm. I respect that.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
You probably don't agree? Question mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Or like, I was gonna say it's overrated.
Oh, okay. I thought you wouldn't agree. I thought you would say that it's perfectly rated.
No.
So
Okay.
to follow that up, because I feel I'm not doing it justice, I just want one more comment on that. Is like you get like beautiful sunsets and like stuff like that. So
For
a lot
sure.
of evenings you want to walk out there and enjoy it, but the laying out part,
100%.
that like that's just.
Like if I'm on a beach, I can't stay lying still. I hate my own thoughts. My own thoughts are scary.
Okay, so it's not just you.
Yeah, you got to be doing something. You like either you're in the water, but the water doesn't normally keep you busy for very long. So then you got to find some dude to throw something.
Throw a
with.
football with.
Yeah, throw a football, frisbee, anything.
So, I just hate being sandy sometimes too.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Oh, sandy sucks.
Like at the very end, you're always trying to get as little sandy as possible before you leave, and it's difficult.
See, I'm the guy that I'm okay with getting sandy, but then when you go to the little wash station, I want to like have almost like a clean set of clothes. If it was in public, I would strip down and I'd want to get like rechanged there because I just washed off. Now I don't want to be hauling sand into the vehicle or sitting and driving in it. That drives me.
No, and that's
nuts.
what I'm saying. Or you go to you go into the change station, but like the other million people went in there before you, dragged in a lot of sand, and now you're trying to get your feet through your underwear without getting sand on it.
Oh, it's a trick.
That is
trick
a
to
hassle of a lifetime right there.
Yeah.
Very good.
We agree.
We agree.
Yeah. No one's going to the beach here, boys.
No beach trips among us.
Very well. Well, how about we roll into our next kind of section here, and we're going to talk about what's on Brendan's mind.
Oh, this is this part. Yeah. So when Corey when Corey first asked me a couple of weeks ago, well, maybe a month ago, I was like, nah, I don't know what to talk about. So it wasn't until today when he called for the final time. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna say it because I'm a better probably storyteller than some of these great guests you've had come with like amazing ideas of what to discuss. I'm more of just tell a story, a personal story in my life. It's a little easier for me. So my topic or the thing that I'm going to talk about is being scammed.
Okay.
And so we're all going to join in on telling some stories about
Sure.
being
Yeah,
scammed.
right.
Sure.
I'm hoping Tyler's been scammed.
No,
A little.
I have a little thing I'll share. It's not as exciting as what you guys have, but
Okay.
we'll get it.
How do you know how exciting
You don't know.
mine is?
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trusting you guys to bring. You guys are old, right? You guys have had the excitement in your
Sure.
lives.
Sure.
You're clearly the wise one, though. If you haven't gotten scammed.
Yeah, well, we're young. We're taught in our young years to
Not be scammed.
not be scammed, to refuse the internet.
Ah.
Scams.
Yeah,
I was actually nearly scammed the other day just by a Canada Post because I had just returned a thing from Amazon to Canada Post, and then like 2 hours later I got something like your address isn't complete on like package, which it was close enough, and I didn't want to read the entire paragraph, so it was close enough. I was like, wait, they need some sort of more return information. So I went on the website, it was like CanadaPost.xyz, and I was like, no, that's not right.
You almost broke, though,
Almost
didn't you?
broke,
You
almost
almost
broke.
did. And that's how easy it is.
Yeah,
It's like that.
It is. It's tough.
All right.
Anyway, start us off.
All
with
right.
that. All right, Brendan.
All right. So I got to probably lay a little foundation for you guys so that it makes sense to you guys, but then also our audio listeners and everybody that's watching. So you guys probably know that or some of you might know that I dibble and dabble a little bit in the rental housing. So that basically I buy rentals, and I have a couple. And so how I got scammed is basically, or I guess more back to it is how you kind of go to buy a property. Typically, a typical person would go to a big six bank. What I mean by that is like a CIBC, TD, name them, BMO, Scotiabank. And they say, okay, I want to get pre-approved. And the bank goes about their thing. They pre-approve you. They check your credit. They do all the different things they need to do to make sure that you are capable of, taking on a loan and buying a property. So, as you guys know, I am a farmer, and I'm also kind of a shareholder in some other companies and ventures, which makes me a sole proprietor or a self-employed. And typically, big six banks, if I can just I'm just going to call them big six because that's what they are. They want you to kind of fit in like a box. And that box kind of looks like working for someone, a 9 to 5 or 7 to 5, whatever your hours are, a typical job. You have a T4, you have a 750 or above credit score. I'm being a little harsh there, but you have all these things, and if you check all these boxes, hey, we will give you a mortgage, or we will approve you. So in the past, I've used them, of course, and a few months ago, when trying to, and because I work with banks on a weekly or daily or monthly basis, fairly often, I knew kind of where I was at, and because they every time you purchase, they're looking for more collateral. Does that make sense? They're always looking for more collateral. So they do a credit score check on me, and they're like, or they can see that, okay, what are these trucks associated to? What is this tractor? What's this? What are these things? Well, I don't want to give them that, because what that does for me is that anytime you don't want to give them more information. You have to, right? So when you give them more information, they're going to ask for collateral. So because I'm a farmer, I don't want to give them the farm, because the farm is with FCC, a farm credit union. If I want to expand the farm at some point, they're using the farm as collateral. If I try to go buy a rental house and they want that collateral, it hinders me on growing the farm. Is that making sense? Mm-hmm. So all that to say, when I want to go buy a piece of property, because I don't fit in that little box, that perfect box, I end up having to look at other options. Either you have a rich uncle or a friend, or you look at B lending. And B lending is basically someone that's not a big six, but also is like a financial company that will give you a mortgage, typically higher rates, a few more closing fees, and etc. So that's kind of the foundation. Now my story is that I follow a few different pages on Facebook that would list property, and on those pages there's B lenders that advertise. So I've been over the last years kind of been like following different ones and paying attention. I had found a property in the past few months that I wanted to purchase. I reached out to this B lending company and was like, hey, I had done my research. It looked like they had great, reviews and ratings and everything like that. And when talking with them, they were very fluent and easy to deal with, easy to work with. So they, of course, say, hey, yep, sure, we'll work with you. Send us all your information over. I send them all my info, that I was willing to give, that is. So I gave them all the stuff they needed, and they go through their process and said, hey, it's going to be, 4 to 5 days. And I give them the 4 or 5 days. After day 5, I call them and like, hey, where's this at? Give us another day, give us another 2 days, something, we'll get it to you. Once that all comes through, they give you the approval. I go put the offer in. I get the house, or at least, I approved and the accepted offer. Then all of a sudden they're like, okay, now we need another level of paperwork and so on. Now that this house is going through, let's get this all set up. So then there's more levels of it, and there's a lot of details in that, but I'm just trying to keep this a little shorter. So I think it was about a month away from closing, so they had time, and they worked at getting all these things kind of in place. Every time I'd reach out, they were, yep, we're good. They're working at appraisals of the property. They're working at just all the typical things. They're sending somebody out. They're going to get pictures. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And all this stuff makes sense from other times I've purchased. Anyways, I can't exactly remember if it was 3 or 5 days. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 days away from closing. And then it's, again, like I said, B lenders are typically, they have a few fees because they're higher interest, and just because, well, this guy clearly isn't using a big six. He got turned down or denied, or you're self-employed. There's higher risk for them too, or so they would say. So they say, okay, they sent me the paperwork, send us this money for e-transfer wire, and then we are going to send you the rest of the money. I guess basically this lender sends it to the lawyer. The lawyer then is who distributes it or whatever and sends it to the seller. Typical, right? I was a little bit nervous of sending a bit of money, so I made sure I sent all the paperwork over to my lawyer. Hey, just double check this, just in case it's scam. Got to make sure. Send it all over. Lawyer's like, hey, they've been going since 2007. Good ratings, good reviews. Looks like they're all above board. Go ahead. Next day, send the money out. Boom, good. Okay. Following 24 hours, the lawyer should have the wire of the sum of money for the mortgage in their account. Waited 24 hours, didn't hear from them. I'll give them a little extra time. Just like every other bank, they always take an extra day. Give them an extra day. Day goes on, and then I call, hey, lawyers, did you get this money? No, haven't received it yet. Call up the lending company, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, we're sending it, but we have this, and this other fee that we forgot to send with you. Did you not receive that email? Right away, obviously, warning bells going off. I'm like, oh, no. Hopefully not. Right away, call the lawyers. What is this? Send them all the paperwork that they just recently received. And they're like, that might just be a scam. And how they do this is very creative because they're super patient. Typical scammers. If you think of a typical scammer, they're like they call you and they try to like keep you on the phone the whole time. No, these guys were willing to, yeah, take your time, send us over the paperwork. Then they tell you, oh, they're going to be 3 days. Instead of like coming back and like almost being fishy that they're fast. No, they're like every other bank. They take an extra 2 days. So you're buying into this whole time. You're like, okay, that makes sense. And someone probably really smart would have maybe caught on to this. But again, because of my past, a lot of this stuff just made sense. They're following all those principles. The only thing that was different is I probably shouldn't have sent them money. So judge me as you will. But what they're smart about, they wait till it's a few days away from closing because there can be costs incurred if you don't close on time on your property. And then it's on you. And so all of a sudden we're, again, 4 or 5 days away from closing, somewhere in there, and it's panic attack. So what they do is if all of a sudden someone is worried about them being scammed, you're too close, so you got to send them that money. To say that, I didn't realize that I had to. Typically, they would have it. But again, I was like, oh, it's B lending. Sometimes you've got to pay a little bit of money. You know, a few $1,000, sometimes it's more. And then they got the first sum of money, but then it like quadrupled. That these are all these extra fees yet. And then, oh yeah, we'll get you that back on closing. But at that point, this is a large sum of money we're talking about. We can't do this again if this isn't. And, you know, they try to call you and convince you that, no, we would never scam you, blah, blah, blah. You know, you just got to pay this stuff. And right away, you get that sinking feeling in your stomach. You're like, oh no, I just got taken. So anyways, I guess I don't know how to close that story out. That is my scam story. To close that out, we were ended up able to close the house, or close the property. The good Lord was looking out for us, I guess. Ended up, there was some paperwork that the seller didn't have an order, so it extended it about 5 or 6 days, which gave me enough time to get something else set up. Obviously, it was a little bit of a nervous and stressful 5 or 6 days to get this all taken care of. But elite scamming, the most elite scamming, and now I don't trust anything because of just how good it was, right? How patient these guys were.
I've got some questions.
Yeah,
for you.
fire away.
What kind of bank did like this wire go to? Like, was it within Canada or no?
It was not within Canada.
Okay. Was it in the U.S.?
It was U.S.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. And
which is where a lot of the good B lending companies come from.
right.
There's some in Canada, but again, there's some really good companies from there. So again, I'm trying to defend myself basically for making a mistake. But anyway, yeah, it ate me up for days. But I've came past that clearly enough to share it on a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
This is your moment of letting it go.
Yeah,
Putting
I let it
aside.
go a little while ago. I just the only way I could do it is like, hey, that house is a really good deal. So clearly, I just had to pay a little more for it.
So now I'm trying to think of what about like these companies like that they or whatever your lawyer looked at, like what was it seeing that was okay, and like how is that at what
Because they had a registered business account, they had and again I forget all the details, but they had all these list of criteria that a typical business would need. But literally after I caught them and I said something, it like I am assuming they can make all this stuff. Like they've been around since 2007. They can probably how my lawyer described it is that even the people on Facebook and stuff were made accounts. When you started looking at all the ratings, you looked at them, it was like a person's face or a couple or a family, but then they only had a few posts and then that was it. And it was kind of like once you actually clicked on each one, but you had to do extensive research.
Right.
You know, like, okay, there is some holes in it. And someone that really spends a lot of time, I pride myself on trying to be thorough, clearly not thorough enough. Like it's those, you know, you got to really trace it down.
Interesting.
And again, when I had other things on the go, and again, you're just following a typical practice, and next thing you know, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't right.
Yeah.
So I guess that's to all the listeners to double check, triple check, and just because your lawyer says it's good doesn't always mean it is good.
Yeah, the fact that your lawyer was like, we're chill.
I tried to throw him under the bus, but of course they had some paperwork that I signed, of course,
Yeah.
somewhere, and there was, you know,
Doesn't matter what they tell you.
they're always
still
covered.
fine.
They're always
There's
covered.
no reason to listen to you then
Yeah,
either, is
no,
there?
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't know. That's my story.
You got any questions, Tyler?
I don't know, just thoughts that come up from that are scammers are getting more intelligent every day because I like Trav or wow, I like why do I keep calling you Travis? Like Brendan was saying, yeah, they normally try to push you with time, and they're always like, and this is a different scam, I suppose, but yeah, if they call you on the phone, then they want to get this done quick. They want to get that money fast.
Well, you're still like, and that's the typical scams that I've been, you know, I've never fell for them, but like they try to get you on the phone. They want you to go get, you know, whether it's cards or this or that type of thing. And pay them that way. No, they were willing to just let that sit out. They want you to get right up until closing date, and then they pull that trick.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Oh, it is.
But I feel that there's going to be a lot more people because there's thousands of people on these Facebook pages that are buying real estate and multi-units on these pages. So I'm more aware of it now, and I can see a little bit, some of them, I think, at times. But
Interesting.
yeah, that's my story.
You got a story for us there, Corey?
A little bit. Not like so. I haven't technically been gotten by a legit scammer. I've gotten the raw end of a deal. I call getting scammed. Let my emotions get into it a little too much or whatever. So I saw a Corvette come up on sale, a classic, way back in the day. And it was a good 2 to 3 hour drive out. I think they were asking $4,000 for it. So very good deal. And they had a couple pictures of it. They weren't like great quality, but like it looked really good. And I'm like, for $4,000, I am buying this. How did it go? So I think I called up a friend with a pickup, rented a U-Haul trailer.
Oh my!
And went out. All right, I'm deep, right? Like you,
Deeper than what I was for sure.
you're
renting vehicles.
You rented a thing, and you got a favor from a friend. We get there, and it's man, though, I'm trying to remember if I went out first or no, there's no way. No. Okay. Boy, I'm really trying to remember. I think I did look at it before. No, I did look at it before he... Yes, okay, it's all coming back to me. Restart this. Okay, so I go out that night to go see it, and there's a guy and his wife there that are selling it at the parking lot of a garage, like a shop. And I get there, I kind of look over it, and the guy's phone is just ringing off the hook, and he's like, everybody wants this car. Everyone wants this car. And the weird thing about it was the pictures that were taken of the car were, like, it was the same car, but before, like, quite a few years before. And this thing had been in a garage that was on fire, but they pulled it out. And so there's a little bit of, like, paint flaking and stuff on the one side. Bit of stuff. But it's still a good deal. It's still fine. Like, and, like, for the price, like, you put a little paint on it, it's good. It was a little rainy and dark. And the guy couldn't get it started. The battery was dead. I didn't have any booster cables along. He didn't. So we're just like, okay, it doesn't start. All right, well, the battery was dead, right? Like, you can't argue that it was dead. And so then I was like, okay, I'll give you $1,000 if you hold this. Because, like, phone's ringing off the hook, you know. Putting that pressure on. Give you $1,000 to hold it, and I'll be back, you know, like tomorrow, whatever. And we'll pay you that final amount out when I see it running. So then that's when I got the U-Haul trailer and got my buddy, drove it out there. Now it's only his wife there this time.
Oh boy.
She can't get it started. It sounded like it had started a bit. Like, it had been boosted. So, like, it was able to turn over, like, half a turn or whatever. It kind of, you know how one of the battery's half dead. And so I'm like, okay, like, this thing, and they're like, oh, it was just running, and, like, it was totally fine, and la-di-da, and blah, 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 and I'm like, well, what do I do now? Like, I'm deep into this, and I still want it.
You
And
were committed at this
I got
point.
a little too emotionally attached to it, and I was giving them $1,000 already, and like, what do I do? And so I was like, all right, whatever. We put some wacky winches to get like the ratchet straps together, and like somehow ratchet strapped it like onto the trailer because it was too heavy.
You dragged it on?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
because it wouldn't start. And I paid her the $3,000. And we took it home. All right. I got to working on that engine. There is no way that thing ran. No way that thing ran like before. Because like so on an old engine, they've got like all the wires going to your spark plugs
Okay.
from the distributor cap. They were not in the proper order, like going to the proper cylinders. So like your firing order would have been completely wrong on when different cylinders fire, and it wouldn't have run.
Yeah.
If by chance it might have, not very well at all. But I never was able to get it to start like that until I changed that.
Fixed it.
Minor thing. I think I also maybe did a carb on it, bit of different stuff like that. So I put some time and money into it. Then I got a little deeper into it, and that's where it all went bad. So these things, they look fantastic from the outside because they're fiberglass. All the body's fiberglass. It can't rust, right? You look at it, you're like, oh, this thing's mint.
Right.
No rust, blah, blah. All the structural metal parts are in behind and in there. And like, I eventually found like some of these very structural parts totally caked away. Like, I was like, this is like, the motor isn't the big issue. Like, it's the body of, or like where the body mounts onto the frame and stuff was just gone.
Wow.
And I was just like, there's no way to do anything with this. And I was like, I don't know. I took it out for a drive on the road. And it was fun. Did burnouts, got a little sideways, ran well. Had a little clunk in the rear end, though. That was another thing. And, yeah, I'm like, this thing is, like, the amount of money and time and energy that I would have to put into it, it would be cheaper just to buy a good
car.
So, it sat there in the shed for a while.
Was it the white car?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I feel like I remember this one.
And I put it up on Kijiji and I had it selling for a while, but, like, I couldn't sell it like it was sold to me.
Right. Yeah.
And, eventually,
so you get taken on it?
a little, but I think I recouped some of my cost.
Oh, really?
Like, so I eventually sold it. I don't remember if I sold for like $1,000, but I probably had at least another 1,000 into it by then. And so it wasn't big, but it was,
So what do you say you sell it for?
I don't know. I feel like $3,000 maybe.
Okay.
And so here's the fun
So
story.
you lost
though.
1,000, maybe two.
Two. Well,
So
more than
you got
1,000
scammed.
for sure. Because I would have transferred it into my name and stuff, so you'd pay tax on it.
Yeah.
And then I did the engine, bought a bunch of stuff for that. Yeah, I lost money on it for sure. And it was a real lesson learner though. Like you learn, like I paid for my education on that one.
Yep.
That's kind of how I looked at it. But the guy that ended up buying it was buying for someone out of Sweden. The guy just like randomly gets containers of like old like American vehicles, takes them over there, gets them shipped to another country, then gets them fully restored and takes them back. Like just like ultra wealthy dude of some sort. Anyways, he was taking a flatbed truck and he just wanted something for on the bed of the truck because it's extra space.
One extra space, you got to fill it.
Yeah. So
I like it.
And they found this thing, and I was like, it's like really bad, you know? Oh, I don't care. And like, it's like, oh, it fires up and it runs on it. I can drive it onto my trailer. Oh, this is wow, perfect. I'm like, all right, we're good here. I can take your money.
Yeah.
I was
Under
so happy when the
promise, over
sale.
deliver, baby.
Yeah, I was very happy when the sale finally came through. So,
That's great.
anyways, do you want a scam story? Should we carry on?
Do you have one?
No, do you?
Oh, sorry. Not really much. Just saying that if you're 50 years old, you're at a big worry because my dad just loves picking up scam phone callers and not realizing they're scams.
Oh.
Like, even my mom is, like, trying to tell him, like, I'm pretty sure that's not real. And then, like, I get, sometimes, hasn't happened recently, but, like, there's, like, a month or so where, like, happened, like, twice. Or I come home and my dad's, like, on the phone with some dude. And Mom's like, I'm pretty sure he's on with a scammer. I'm like, Dad, get off the phone as soon as I hear what's going on. And the most recent one, he was just talking on the phone, talking to some dude trying to sell him literally a cell phone. He's like, "Oh, should I get the Samsung S22 Ultra or whatever it is?" You know, I was like, "Wait, no, Dad, that's a scam. Just hang up right now." He's like, and then he always tries to be extra nice or some like just. Instead, he doesn't just hang up. He's always like, I think I'm okay. Like, I would just hang up. You know, they don't deserve to be nice to, really. But
So is he like? Does he actually believe it? Like
generally, he gets kind of roped in at least on
see.
some level.
Okay, I thought maybe he's just playing it out. I was like,
No,
maybe
no,
Uncle
no,
G.
no,
He's
no,
just
no,
you know
no.
he's playing this one out.
Old Uncle G just he doesn't. He's very trusting. Sometimes,
I see.
quite often to a fault with these guys. So
Trusting.
if you're 50 plus, beware. You know.
That's interesting because then I know people that just do it for fun. They're just like, oh, we'll waste their time.
That's fun.
They're not
That's
scamming
fun.
somebody else.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that's Uncle G, but
No. He's not quite that coy, unfortunately.
All right, enough of the scamming. I think we're going to move on to the next section.
Sure thing.
Book of questions.
all right,
I'm going to go flip through. You're going to tell me when to stop. I'm going to point out a question.
sounds good. Stop.
The oddest job you ever the oddest job you ever took to earn a buck? ? So I assume it's what is the oddest job
That's a weird way to word a question.
you
Wow.
took to make a buck? Do you want another one?
Yeah, I'm gonna make you do another one.
I think he just likes the high
Stop.
stakes.
Are you OCD about anything?
See, these are two good questions, but I made a pact with myself that I'm going for the third question.
I
All
knew
or
it.
nothing.
I knew it was coming.
All or
You
nothing.
want-
Because then
I
I
knew it
just,
was coming.
no matter what, I got to try to answer the third one.
Yeah.
There's some funny questions in here.
I know, I'm
hope
worried.
it's a
I'm
stupid
worried,
one.
but that's what I wanted.
You just love that stress. Eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stress, that risk. The third one might be the worst one. All right,
Balls.
stop.
All right, I'll give you left or right here.
Right. I felt the right. Yep, this is going to be a good one.
If you were in the hospital, who are the two people you'd want to be by your side?
Wow. Look at that.
I think.
Look at that. Okay, I was two people?
Yeah,
I'm
that makes
gonna-
it awkward.
Yeah,
doesn't
it does. I'm going to stretch that to three because I was recently in the hospital.
It's two though.
I
It's
know.
got to be
It's-
two.
I
Wait,
can't.
wait. I know where this is going.
Yeah, I was
'cause
going to say my wife, and then I was going to say my two kids,
Yeah,
but now I got to
exactly.
say
You gotta choose a kid. You gotta choose a kid.
I need to choose my eldest.
or you no, not
You could
right.
just like the kids can't come. I'll take my mother.
Yeah, wife and mother. Yeah, I mean, choosing two, that's difficult. So the wife is always number one. That's the most honest
I
answer.
could give you an out here.
You can give me out.
Should I give him an out? Not let him struggle a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to.
made
If
his
I'm
bed,
in the
let him-
hospital, yeah, I
Your
did
wife
make.
and the doctor.
That's really. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't want them in there all the
Okay.
time. I
Fair
think
enough.
this question is basically like I want them to come
snooping
check in
around.
once a day, or twice, or whatever it takes. But I'd have to go with like a close friend or something like that. But the kids are probably off at Grandma and Grandpa anyway. So
Bring in Corey.
yeah, I'm gonna bring in Corey.
You can talk about all the
Yeah.
times he's been scammed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's got good stories and life advice. Yeah, we'd bring in Corey.
You guys
That's
probably
a really
chop
good.
it up all the time.
All right.
Yep.
Hold there and hold your hand a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our food for thought. What do you put on
Alright.
your sausage? You gotta have like a sausage on a bun. What do you
Okay,
put on there?
I'm putting on.
The reason I thought this,
Yeah, go ahead.
I just had some recently, and there was lots of people putting different things on.
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
yeah,
I'm assuming this is just like there's like a buffet spread out that I can choose whatever topping, right? So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
go ketchup. We're going mustard, sauerkraut, or like onions, cooked onions of some sort like that. I can add relish, but not a need because it's just gonna there's eventually gets too many toppings. It all slides off. But those are the main three. And then here's a little something crazy. There happens to be some chips. Those that know me. I'm taking some chips, I'm crushing them up with my hands and trickling them on top.
Would you
On
do
a
that with a burger
sausage.
too?
Burger sandwich.
Burger for sure. I could understand
Burger
that, but-
sandwich. Whenever I can slide a little crunch in there, big time.
Sausage. That's a little strange.
Oh, yeah. You just trickle that right up on top. You grind that thing. Just take your hands, crush it real fine, trickle it on top. That's a
I'd be
really
willing to
good
give
time.
it a go. Yeah. So first off, I'm just say ketchup and cheese whiz have been my staples ever since I've been a child. And like you look at that and you're like, wow, that's nothing. And you're right. I'm a picky child. So, but something I picked up from Americans recently is jalapenos.
Mm-hmm.
Putting a little bit of those on top. I really like a little bit of spice on there. Makes it good. And something I was just thinking about as Brendan was talking is, I haven't tried this yet, but I know it'd be good, is what if you put poutine on top of sausage? It's not a normal topping at all, but like...
You're
Fries
acting
and
like poutine is a sauce or something.
I know. But I've
Like-
had it on a burger and it's fantastic, so I'm just thinking it's got to be good on a sausage.
I'd
Like
try
how?
that.
Like
I would definitely
you're
try
putting
that.
gravies, cheese,
Putting
and
gravy, cheese, and a little bit of French fries
Oh
on
my
top somehow.
goodness.
It'd be messy, but it'd be a good time.
yeah, interesting.
Good old Canadian. How
Okay.
about you?
So I'm a pretty basic guy. I like one side like mayo, one side cheese whiz. Maybe sometimes I'll skip the cheese whiz, and then a little barbecue sauce, maybe a little mustard, depending how I'm feeling on the day. Then just the other day, I seen a little salsa in the fridge. So what if we put a little salsa on the top of the one half? It was not bad. I don't know if the salsa, it wasn't the best salsa either. So I don't, it could maybe be elevated
Is
if
it
you
going to
put
be
better
sticking in
salsa
the
on it.
repertoire there? Or?
Not sure.
Yeah.
But I have, as you were talking, like we're just getting ideas here.
Hive mind over here, yeah.
So I was like, oh, what about like the cheesy Tostito chip dip? What about like that? So instead of jalapenos, put a little of that on there. Oh, that would be good. I think you get a little spice, a little cheese sauce, gooiness on there.
Wow.
I'd be willing to give that a go too.
Oh, and the mindset behind the salsa on the hot dog was like, or not hot dog, sausage on a bun was because you can get like the chili dogs, right?
Yeah.
I was like, maybe it's close to a chili dog, but I was like, I think I'd rather have chili on there than salsa.
Right. Well, you live and you learn, don't you?
Yeah. You trying any of our creations there, Brendan, or sticking to the
Yeah.
chips?
I like that. I was gonna just add. I realized that when you guys add the mayo and the cheese whiz, those are obviously things that are just base model. That's a must. I thought you guys said toppings, so I just named them
Okay.
toppings.
Okay, so you do put cheese whiz and mayo. and
1,000%.
stuff on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I get the chance, that would be probably one of each or both, just on both sides. You know, you just you get it done right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna just go right into the next section,
All right.
and it's kind of goes in line with the whole scamming thing. It's like,
Ooh.
do you believe most people are good? You know, you hear that song, I believe most people are good.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking, like, how do you feel about that? How do I feel about that? Any of you guys have any opinions or thoughts on
So
that?
I got a thought, Corey.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And Tyler. I got a thought. Most people, I think, genuinely are good. There's always a few, bad apples. But with everybody, most people being good, I feel like there's one thing in each person's life that would just, like, set them off. Maybe I'm just speaking for me.
Okay.
But, like, I just feel like there's one thing that, like, if something was to, there's that thing that pet peeve or whatever it might be, that could just, most people are genuinely, averagely, if that's a word, just are good. But there's something in each person's life that would just set them off so that they weren't good.
Okay.
That's my little sum up of that. That's
Interesting.
what I think. If there was that, like, because I know there's something like, yeah, you pushed me the right way, bam, I wouldn't be so good. And I'm just like, I think there's got to be other people like this,
Yeah.
that if there was, most people try to be good, want to be like a decent human, but there's always going to be something that you just catch that person. It might be in traffic. It could be, you're in town and somebody's mowing just a little bit past their line, and that just sets that next neighbor off. It'll be something,
Yeah.
and they're fighting over the smallest of things. That's my comment on
Yeah.
that.
I think most people try to be good, but I think your definition of good can depend a little bit on what your morals are and what you base those morals on.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Because
that too.
there are some people that are like, I think they've got the right idea and they're trying their best to be good, but they don't agree with what they're doing because their morals are different than mine.
And along with that, I think most people believe that they're good, no matter like what, and
yes,
even if they're doing, say, scammy things. I think they concoct like some reasoning in their mind behind why it's okay for them to do it.
Maybe they need to pay the bills. Maybe they're trying to put their grandmother through the hospital. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, they probably come some for reason.
Or I just have a hard time believing that most people, or that people out there are like, I'm a bad person.
That just leads into like depression or something.
Yeah.
You are like that. So I
Yeah.
would definitely probably agree with that.
Sorry, were you gonna say anything more there?
Me?
Before I jumped
not
in.
in the slightest. Yeah, I was enjoying what you had to say.
Okay. So just basically, yeah, most people, depending on where what their perspective of good is, I guess.
Where you morally stand.
There might be the odd psychopath out there that wants to be a bad person. I think that's possible. I don't know how you get to a place like that. I feel like...
But they probably think they're doing some kind of good.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
gotta realize that in their head.
And you, like, does something has to happen in someone like that's life or childhood to shape them in that way.
Yeah.
So.
Or just like someone, very mentally unstable, doing silly things. So the way I think about it sometimes is, I've always thought most people are good. I just have faith in most of humanity, and like I always think like how people are concerned about, say, how do you say that? Women or children, like more vulnerable of our society, I guess. That like if you were at a mall or this or that, like all these creepy, like maybe you could get kidnapped or whatever. My theory always is like there's enough people around. If you're in a spot where there's enough people around, you shouldn't have to worry, because like most people aren't out there seeing like, oh, there's someone trying to take someone. Now children's a little different because they can be manipulated a little easier into believing to go with someone willingly than a grown adult. But like, say like a woman, I don't think should be afraid to be in a public space generally, because can't you like just holler and like most people would be like, oh, this isn't right, and like they'd leave. I don't know, just a theory. Like you generally shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I could be way out to lunch too. Any thoughts on that?
Depends a little bit, because then you go to like New York City or this or that, and your trust level, like probably depending where you are. Like I shouldn't have just called it New York City, but it could be
it's
Mexico
a very fair city to call,
whatever.
call out.
But there's going to be spots where you're just like, okay, my trust factor went from up here to down there. Now we're checking her back, at all times.
Yeah.
Because there's just more people that have bad intentions. So
Speaking of like people in New York City and kind of tying into the scams, this isn't really a scam either. But I was just in New York City over Christmas, and there's this like, I don't know, kind of Chinese monk-ish type, like dojo guy.
Nice.
He's like type of dude that you'd see him training for 40 years and then coming back to win martial arts. Anyway, don't worry. He's dressed in that sort of thing, and he comes by. And he's got like all sorts of like bracelets and trinkets, and he walks up to you. But like he'll try to sell you things by literally just shoving stuff on your hands and stuff like that. So like he went up to me, like grabbed my hand, he like took a bracelet and transferred it from one of his arms and like onto mine forcefully or whatever. Man. And it's like they're just that aggressive to try to get you to buy things.
What is this, Jamaica?
I don't know, pretty much.
Yeah, they're like that. I was at Jamaica or in Jamaica a couple of years back, and same thing. They want to play this little game with you. They have these little wooden things and whatever, and like put out your hand, do this, do that, and then all of a sudden it's in your hand, and like oh, money. It's like it's not how this works.
Doesn't it almost feel like, hey, you gave it to me, can't I just walk away now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a manipulative sales tactic that I have read about in a book.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
you read about these sorts of things, don't you?
I did that time. But back to the "are people good" thing, though. Then, like, overall, I think from our country where we feel, I feel pretty safe going about in most places. Like, yeah, maybe you might get mugged, might not. But then I like change your perspective of good, right? Like, what's your perspective of good? And this is where suddenly, like, my whole faith in humanity was lost in this one interaction. So I rented a belt sander from Home Depot. I was like, sanding my deck, and suddenly I accidentally caught the cord, and it just whipped right up into the sander,
Sucked it in,
shredded her to crap.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, I didn't pay for the insurance on this. You know, insurance is a scam. That's always what I think. You know,
Yeah.
you pay that extra $5. The insurance company's making money, so the probability of it going wrong for me is lower than what
Yes.
the payoff.
Yes.
So I don't buy that type of stuff. And I was like, well, this time I should have. Anyways, so you think I go back to Home Depot. And anyways, so I'm returning it, and I've got the cord all wrapped up, and it doesn't look bad. You know, like, it doesn't look like it's wrecked. Sitting on the table, I'm like, hey, just returning this. He's like, okay, let me check you out. And I'm like, yeah, I messed up the cord a bit here, and it's... I got caught in the sander, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah. I go and I show him that this cord is mangled, and he says, okay, yeah, whatever. And there's someone else standing there, and they're just like, shh. And I'm just like, I kind of
they're
ignored
telling
it.
you to shush.
Yeah. And I'm just like, this is what's wrong with society.
Wow.
Like, this is why I don't have a rental company. This is it ticked me off on so many levels. I was just like, I ended up, he's like, regular, it's maybe this much, I don't know, like 30 or 40 bucks, but I'll give it to you for 25. And so I spent 25 bucks extra because I mangled this cord. And like, yeah, I don't know, it's just like, you do something wrong, you make a mistake, you own up for it. Like, you wreck someone's something, you don't just put it back together, put it on the shelf, and you know the next person picks it up and falls apart, and you make them think they broke it, right? Like, it's I'm just like, the whole mindset, because like you do something on that, like it just goes so far.
Yeah.
And I was just like, most people are not good. And oh man, I was just
Corey
like,
snapped.
I
Corey
was-
snapped.
That was the thing that made him snap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, and then I really questioned all of humanity, and I'm like, and like the old people would be like, oh yeah, that's the new generation, they're just all crooked the way, you know. And I'm
like
like,
it's
is it
every
that way, or are
generation.
they all crooked?
So I was gonna say, before you started that little story, though, like, if you want to talk about like people being good, you just think about like our childhood, and we're gonna keep Tyler out of it because he's so much younger than us.
Yeah.
But like, think back to like early 2000s in our childhood, like we were okay with being out and about, not having much fear.
you know,
Like, just think about how much different. Like,
I was always a little worried about kidnappers.
yeah, but that's because your older brother and sister, yeah, they were probably telling you stories. I had
Like-
the same, but still, like, our parents were a little bit more. You know, again, they were coming from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s even. And
Everyone had a perfect life back then.
We're they're bike to school. You'd see someone go past you twice, you'd be like, are they a kidnapper?
oh, for sure. 'cause
And there's
that's-
definitely some kids at school that had stories that they're pretty sure that someone tried to kidnap them.
right.
I never had those stories, but someone
So somebody
there were
dreamt
some
something,
people.
you know.
Brandon, this is completely random here, but didn't you have someone like shoot you with a paintball gun while you're mowing lawn?
100%. I can't believe you
That's a good
remembered
point.
that.
Yeah,
How in
yeah.
the world did you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah.
It hit me as a child. I was like,
man.
no way. Who the heck would do that?
Yeah, I know. I know. I had the ugliest face as a kid, and it's just funny. I
don't think
can
that
kind of
was why.
I can kind of remember like going in with the lawnmower after I was mowing the ditch, and I just remember like looking up for a second, and that was the moment Buddy pulled the trigger, and it freaked me out because obviously it's a black gun. You're not gonna
It
know
looks
what's
like
what.
a
And
real
then
gun in a
smack you
second, yeah.
it hits, and it was so cold. Clearly the paintball was frozen because it left shards all over the mower, and it left a good welt. It left a really good welt, and we're like going into Dad. And I remember his comment just being like, "It could have been anyone else, but of course it's Brendan." He just like, yeah, it just like these types of things always happen. What did you do? Like, were you waving at him? Were you like trying to annoy him? Because that's right away. You know, good old Doug. He's just like, clearly you must have frustrated the guy. You clearly made him mad. Yeah,
You pissed him off.
you clearly made him mad, and then he shot you. Like, oh, then yeah, I remember he called the cops, this and that, and they were like, yeah, there's been a few other paintball shootings. So, but yeah, I left a little welt, and I didn't want to mow the ditch right away again. But
No doubt.
but nope, that's one thing. Doug was like, no, you get back out there and you mow that lawn. you don't let that fear establish.
No. You
You don't get a
conquer
break
bad
on that.
boy.
You
No.
finish that lawn.
Yeah.
Man. Good
Yeah,
memory.
man, that's just another negative against humanity.
Yeah,
though, eh?
humanity sucks, eh?
Somebody was having fun, didn't figure they were going to get that close, and then to pick out like a little pencil arm as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been 12, 13, something like that. Bam.
Wild.
Good
Wild.
shot.
Yeah. that's what's up.
Anyways, I think we're gonna kind of close it off here. I know we were really last minute. Did you have a quote for us there, or
I did not. Never thought of anything. Live every day to the fullest. I guess that's just on the spot.
There
on
you
the
go.
spot here, but
Fantastic.
Thanks
There
for
you
having
go.
me, guys. And
Absolutely. Thanks
Yes.
for coming on.
thanks for
Yeah.
coming?
yeah,
All right,
appreciate it.
that's it, folks. See you next time. Tyler, do you got anything?
Like and subscribe.
Like
is what
and
you were gonna
yes,
say.
yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye for now. I'm cutting that part out.